Hello children, welcome to AIMS India's online classes. This is biology session, plasma membrane, part 1. So previously we have completed the lesson structural organization of a cell. In that we come across this organelle, plasma membrane. It is a common structure in both prokaryotic or eukaryotic cell. Okay, the plasma membrane is also known as cell membrane. It forms the external covering of most cells. It is made up of protein and lipids. Proteins and lipids. Okay, some of these proteins can move within the lipid layer of the cell membrane, thus providing it fluidity. The lipid layer is actually arranged in the form of two layers of lipid bilayer. Okay, here you can see two layers of lipid bilayer. Okay, outer membrane, inner membrane. And certain carbohydrate molecules are also associated with the proteins of membrane. So this kind of the model which is given here, it is called the Robertson's fluid mosaic model. Okay, the plasma membrane allows the movement of only certain substances across it and prevents the rest. Hence it is known as the selectively permeable membrane. Plasma membrane is called a selectively permeable membrane. We also studied the functions previously. The plasma membrane provides a definite shape to the cell by binding its protoplasmic content together. It acts as a mechanical barrier and forms protection to the cell. It regulates the entry and exit of substances. That's why it is a semi-permeable membrane. The fluid nature of the plasma membrane makes it flexible and enables it to engulf substances or remove waste by vesicle formation. Certain factors present in the plasma membrane often play an important role in cell recognition, especially in immune responses, because the protein structures, okay, immune responses. So overall, the plasma membrane of a cell is made up of lipids, proteins and carbohydrates. Lipids, proteins and carbohydrates. The plasma membrane is semi-permeable and selectively allows the entry and exit of substances into and out of the cell. So let us study in detail about this wonderful organelle, plasma membrane. Okay, so if you understand the structure, we can also understand the movement of substances across the plasma membrane. Okay children, are you ready? Let us proceed. Plasma membrane, all the organisms in the world are made up of cells. So you know that the cell is the basic unit of life. Okay, cell is considered as a basic structural unit of all living organisms, unit of life. So different parts of it perform different functions or specific duties they perform. Okay, that we discussed already. Okay, what is that? For example, ribosomes, protein synthesis, mitochondria, respiration, chloroplast, photosynthesis. Like that, the different parts of the cell perform specific duties. it is very interesting to know how substances pass through cell. There is a wonderful mechanism. Okay, let us learn that mechanism today. Identify the, so here one table is given, activity. So identify and tick which substances should go in and which substances should go out of the cell. Okay, so here oxygen should go into the cell, glucose should go into the cell, proteins should go into the cell, fats, vitamins, minerals. Whereas carbon dioxide, it should go out of the cell. Waste materials should go out of the cell. Okay, children. So plasma membrane, here the activity 1 we are discussing, go, get in and go out. So let us look at the substances in the table. Some needed by the cells while some are discarded by the cell. Can you name any other substances which should enter into the cell? Which substances should enter into the cell and go out of the cell? Yes, water molecules. It should enter into the cell. Okay, and the carbon dioxide and some metabolic wastes like urea, ammonia, unwanted salts, excess of salts, they must be go out of the cell. So you know that the cell performs different functions. For these different types of substances are required by the cell. Okay, in order to perform, for example, in order to perform cellular respiration by mitochondria, what is required? Oxygen is required. So that's why oxygen has to enter the cell. So during that respiration process, carbon dioxide is produced. Okay, that must be eliminated out of the cell. Okay, the substances which are required by the cell may be solids, liquids, or gases. Okay, children. So once again, the substances which are required, okay, they has to enter the cell, and after performing the activity, metabolic activity by the living cell, so many metabolic wastes or metabolites are produced. Some of the metabolites may be useful, some of the metabolites may not be useful. The harmful metabolites must be eliminated from the body. Okay, some, for example, there are certain blood cells are there. Okay, they move from place to place, they perform different functions, isn't it? Certain bacteria or microorganisms which enter into the cell, they are engulfed, they are swallowed by the cells and controlled, isn't it? So different cells in the body made up of different organelles present in the cell perform different functions or do different duties. So solids like what are the important solids? Solids like glucose is always required. Liquids like water, it is the most important constituent of the cell, and gases like oxygen, it is always required. So to understand the entry or exit of substances into and out of the cell, let us do the following activities. Preparing solutions. What is a solution? A solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. So to prepare a sugar solution, we need sugar and water. In a sugar solution, sugar is the solute and the water is the solvent. So sugar dissolves in water, forming a solution. What is that solution? Sugar solution. So next, so preparing these solutions, preparation of different types of solutions. The preparation of a saturated solution. So take 100 ml of water in a beaker, add sugar or salt, stir till it dissolves. Okay, take a spoon and stir it until the solute dissolves in the solvent. What is solute? Sugar or salt. Solvent is water. So repeat it till little amount of the solute is left at the bottom of the beaker. Means you have to add the sugar or salt such that at the bottom of the beaker some amount of the solute will not dissolve. Okay, so such a solution is called a saturated solution. So this is the saturated solution which we have prepared in cold water. Now which one is more concentrated solution? Okay, take 3 beakers and in every beaker with 100 ml of water in each. 3 beakers we have to take. So we are preparing 3 solutions. So take 3 beakers, each with 100 ml of water. Now add half teaspoon full of sugar to the first beaker, 1 teaspoon full of sugar to the second beaker, and 1.5 teaspoon full of sugar to the third beaker. Okay, compare the 3 solutions. So next, after adding sugar, what you have to do? You have to mix it, you have to stir it. Now compare the 3 solutions in the beaker. Now try to answer these questions. The solution of which beaker will be most sugary? The solution of which beaker will be the most sugary? The third beaker, because what we have added? We have added 1.5 teaspoon of sugar to it. What is the reason? Because we added more solute. So can we convert the solution of beaker 1 into solution of beaker 3? Children, for the first spoon, for the first beaker, we have added half spoon of sugar. For the third beaker, we have added 1.5 spoon of sugar. 1.5 spoonful of sugar to the third beaker. So here the question is, can we convert the solution of beaker 1 into solution of beaker 3? Yes. Then how can we make the solution of the third beaker indicated to that of the first beaker? By adding a spoonful of sugar. Okay, because for the first beaker only half spoonful of sugar we have added. So in order to make it the same as the third beaker, for which we have added 1½ spoonful of sugar. So we have to add 1 spoonful of sugar to the beaker 1. Okay. Now how much water should we add to the solution in the third beaker to make it similar to the solution of first beaker? This is another question. Making dilute. So we have made the 3 solutions with the first beaker, ½ spoon of sugar, and solute. How much solute is present in the 3 beakers? I am again reminding you. For the first beaker, ½ spoonful of sugar. For the second beaker, 1 full spoon of sugar. And for the third beaker, 1½ spoonful of sugar we have added. So here, but the solvent is same. How much solvent we have taken in each beaker? 100 ml. Okay. So now the question is, how much water should be added to the solution in the third beaker to make it similar to solution of first beaker? In the first beaker, 100 ml of water was there, and we added ½ spoon of sugar. In the third beaker, 100 ml of water was there, and we have added 1½ full spoon of sugar we have added. So in order to make it the solution concentrated same as the first beaker, we have to add 200 extra ml of water. Okay. Right. So try to understand the concept here, children. The solution with different amount of solute dissolve in them are solutions of different concentrations. Means the concentration of solution depends upon the amount of solute present in it. The amount of sugar present in 100 ml of water is the concentration of the sugar solution. Okay. Which beaker has the most concentrated solution? Beaker 3. Okay. Because more solute is present. Now the lab activity, let us continue. Our aim is to observation of the material in different solutions. Okay. What are the materials required? We need 2 beakers, tap water, sugar, and dry grapes. What are dry grapes means? Kishmish. Okay. Dry grapes or license, they are also called. Kishmish. Procedure. Now what we have to do? Take 100 ml of water in a beaker. We need 2 beakers. We are taking 100 ml of water in each. Keep dry raisin. Raisin means kishmish or dry grapes in it. We have to keep dry grapes or kishmish in 100 ml of water in a beaker, first beaker. Now leave it for 1 hour. Observe what happens. Okay, you have to observe it. Okay. Next, take it out after 1 hour. Take it out and compare it with dry raisin. Dry raisin. Is there any change in the size of the kishmish? Obviously, the size is increased. The dry grapes or the kishmish which is dissolved in the 100, which are soaked in the 100 ml of water in a beaker, they swell. Okay. you may try the same activity with slightly dried carrots and other dry vegetables. Okay, do you ever observe that your mother dipped wetted vegetables in water? Can you identify the reason? Okay, so the reason is here a process, a secret process is involving here. Okay, the kishmish kept in tap water, dry kishmish, become wet because something happened. So what has happened? Let us proceed further. So take 100 ml of, then again next take 100 ml of saturated sugar solution in a beaker. 2 beakers. In the first beaker normal water we have taken. Now in the second beaker take 100 ml of saturated solution of sugar in a beaker which is already prepared. We already prepared. Okay, in the 3 beakers we have prepared. Now the same you can take the third beaker. Saturated solution means where the solute is more. Okay, now what you have to do is the dry grapes or the swollen grapes which we have taken out from the beaker 1 in the activity. The first what we have done, we kept these dry grapes in the 100 ml of water. So after 1 hour we have taken out. So those swollen kishmish of the previous activity or fresh grapes or carrot, whatever the material which we have used, okay, you can keep those inside the beaker with 100 ml of saturated sugar solution. Okay, leave it overnight. Now here more time we are giving. So previously 1 hour. Now leave it overnight and observe in the next morning what happened. Did you find any change in the size of the kishmish? So you have to observe after the experiment. Definitely. So there is a change. Now what happened in the lab activity 2A? In the lab activity 2A, first experiment, we observed that the water moving from beaker to the kishmish, whereas in the lab activity 2B, water is moving from the swollen kishmish into outside. Okay, the water molecules here only one is common. The movement of water molecules is taking place. In the 2A experiment, water molecules from the beaker entering into the kishmish, whereas in the lab activity 2B, the water molecules from the swollen kishmish entering into the beaker. Okay, so this is the activity. So let us think how water goes in and comes out of kishmish. Is the layer permits the water to pass through it? How does it works? Okay, the cells in the outer layer of kishmish permit water to pass through. Okay, more experiments we are going to do to understand this concept. Okay children, be ready tomorrow, we will continue. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.